Hi, I'm Janelle from Project School Wellness, and this is a quick video on how to access valid information. So accessing valid information is one of the core health skills outlined in the National Health Education Standards. So let's take a quick look at what it means, why it's important, and how to do it. So what does it mean to access valid information? This is the process of finding credible, accurate, and relevant information concerning a specific topic, and in terms of health education, concerning a specific health topic. So why does this matter? Well, being able to distinguish what is accurate and relevant information prevents you from accepting false information as truth, building misconceptions, and setting unrealistic and unhealthy expectations. So in terms of our well-being, this is incredibly important. We want to make sure that we have a truthful and valid understanding of every dimension of health, and specifically in terms of how our body works. We want to make sure that we are building a accurate understanding of each dimension of health, and then setting realistic and healthy expectations in terms of what it looks like to live a healthy life. So how do we do it? How do we make sure that we're accessing valid information? So here are 5 steps to follow. And this is for if, let's say, that we have a question about a specific health topic and we find a YouTube video on the topic, or we find an article or a podcast or a book, and we want to make sure that the information that we're consuming is accurate, it's valid, that it's credible, and that it's relevant. So let's look at the steps. So the first thing we're going to do is check the publication date and or the most recent update. So we want to make sure that we're consuming information that is up to date. So if it's been recently published, that's generally good. And if it hasn't been recently published, but it was recently updated or fact checked, then that can also be good. So after we've checked the publication date and we made sure that this is an up to date piece of information, then we're going to go to number 2, and that is when we're going to determine if the author is regarded as an authority on the matter. So does this author really know what they're talking about or they're writing about? And how do we do that? We need to dig a little deeper and look at the author's background. So, what's their work experience? Have they worked recently? Are they really working in the field that they are claiming to be an expert on? What's their educational background? What background or what experiences have they had in life that make them an authority on the matter? And it's really important to not just get swayed by fancy titles or status, but to really see, okay, this person is an authority. So for example, if someone hears that a person is a physician, we tend to think, oh, then they know everything about health. But we need to dig deeper and say, okay, what is the physician's specialty? So if we're looking for information on an issue of, pediatric well-being, but the physician is an OBGYN, they might not actually be an authority and an expert on the matter that you are looking for. So we want to just take time to really determine, is the person an authority on the matter that you're wanting to learn about? Step 3 is to define the author's purpose for creating the publication. So we want to think critically about, why did the author create this? Are they trying to sell something? Are they trying to teach something? Are they connected to an organization that if they produce a certain thing, they're going to get money? Or if they produce or present a certain point of view, that they're going to get money? We need to think really critically about, why have they created this either video or podcast or book or article, and understand if their purpose could encourage them to maybe create or produce information that is not accurate. Step 4, we're going to identify whether or not the author supports their claim or claims with valid evidence. So this is when we're going to look for references, and then we're going to check the references that an author presents, either in their podcast or an article or a book or a video. We don't want to just trust that, oh, they said this is based on research. We want to actually go and look at, what does the research say, to make sure that the research hasn't been manipulated in a way to present a false claim. And then step 5, We want to confirm that the information actually relates to the topic and or question that you were researching. So just going back to the beginning and say, hey, this was the initial question I had, and then determining, yes, this is valid information has helped me understand this health issue or answer this particular question. So just a few tips. Don't just read headlines or short clips, as they often share the most interesting and exciting piece of information, and they don't often tell the whole story. So if you really want to make sure that you're accessing valid information, read a whole article, listen to the whole podcast, watch the whole video, and then dig a little deeper. And digging a little deeper relates to the second tip, which is to fact check the research. So don't just assume that if someone says research says this or research tells us, that they're presenting that accurately. Go and actually check the research yourself. Study the research and see if it actually supports the claim that the author is saying that it does. And then use common sense. Okay, so if something looks sketch, or if something doesn't seem like it's accurate because it's just, kind of makes you feel like this doesn't quite add up, then trust that. Definitely go through the steps, but then also use common sense. So I just urge you to be a critical media consumer, taking time to really assess whether or not the information that you have read or watched or listened to, that it is valid, that it's truthful, and that it's credible before you just accept it as truth, because you don't want to be building misconceptions in your own life. So if you'd like to learn more about how to access valid information, check out projectschoolwellness.com.